Silence. It's more powerful than we think. In a world full of noise, the one who stays quiet often has the real control. People talk all the time. They argue, shout, explain, defend. But silence can do something words can't. It speaks without speaking. It creates space. It makes people listen even when you're not saying a word. Imagine someone insults you. They try to get a reaction, but instead of shouting back, you just look at them, calm, silent, no anger, no defense. That moment of silence hits harder than any loud reply. It shows strength. It shows you're not shaken. It makes the other person feel uncertain, maybe even small. That's the power of silence. Silence is not weakness. It's not fear. It's control. It's choosing not to waste energy. It's understanding that every word you don't say is a message too. It's knowing that sometimes the best reply is no reply at all. Think about strong people you admire, leaders, thinkers, even friends who seem calm and wise. They don't talk all the time. They speak when needed. They don't explain every move. They let their silence do the talking, and people respect that. In arguments, silence is a weapon, not to hurt, but to disarm. When two people fight, both raising their voices, nothing gets solved. But when one stays silent, everything changes. The loud one becomes confused. The power shifts. Silence breaks the pattern. It calms the fire. It forces the other person to think. There's another kind of silence. The silence when you listen, truly listen, not just waiting for your turn to speak, but really hearing the other person, their words, their feelings. That kind of silence builds trust. It shows respect. It makes people open up, and it teaches you more than any speech ever will. In daily life, silence helps us understand ourselves. When we stop talking, we start thinking. We hear our own thoughts. We notice what really matters. Become more aware of our emotions, of our goals, of the world around us. When you're quiet, you become an observer. You notice details. You see how people act, what they say, what they don't say. You start understanding people better. You stop reacting. You start responding with thought, with purpose. Many times, we speak to feel important, to fill space, to avoid awkwardness. But real confidence doesn't need noise. Real power is quiet. It's in the calm before the storm. It's in the pause before the answer. It's in the man or woman who walks into a room and says little, but still grabs everyone's attention. Silence gives you time to think before you reply, before you act. It helps you make better choices. How many times have we said something we regret just because we spoke too fast? Silence could have saved us. A few seconds of stillness can change everything. There's also silence in planning. Winners don't share every move. They plan quietly, work silently, let their success make the noise. If you want to reach your goals, don't talk about them all the time. Work on them in silence. Let the results speak. In relationships, silence can also be healing. Sometimes no words can fix the pain, but sitting beside someone, holding their hand, saying nothing that can mean more than any long speech. Silence holds space for love, for grief, for understanding. But silence is not just about staying quiet. It's about knowing when to speak and when not to. It's a balance. It's about speaking with purpose, not with noise. It's about using your voice like a sword knot, waving it around, but striking only when needed. Sometimes people fear silence. They think it makes them look weak or shy. But that's not true. Silence can show deep strength. It says, I don't need to prove anything. It shows you are in control of yourself, your thoughts, your emotions. In the world of business, silence is a strategy. In negotiations, smart people don't talk too much. They let the other person speak. They use silence to make the other side uncomfortable, to draw out secrets, to take the lead without saying a word. Even in interviews or meetings, a moment of silence can be powerful. It shows you're thinking, it shows confidence, it slows things down, it brings attention to what matters. It makes people lean in, wondering what you'll say next. And in your personal journey, silence is your space. A space to heal, to grow, to understand yourself. In silence, you find your real voice, not the one shaped by fear or pressure, but the voice that comes from deep within. That voice knows who you are, what you want, and where you're going. There is a quote that says, "Speak only if it improves the silence." That means don't talk just to fill the air. Speak when your words matter. Speak when it adds value. Until then, stay silent. Stay powerful. You don't have to explain everything. You don't have to prove anything. You don't need to argue with every critic. You don't need to fight every battle with words. Some victories come in silence.